Hi, folks. My name's Brian Sinnott. I'm the district attorney here in Adams County, and I'm joined with a couple other folks from law enforcement. To my right is Captain Jason Haynes of the Pennsylvania State Police, who's a Troop H commander. To my far left is Lieutenant Lieutenant Michael Burns, who's the station commander here for the Gettysburg State Police Barracks. To my immediate left is Assistant District Attorney Kyle Reuter, R-E-U-T-E-R, who's the prosecutor who's been assigned to this case that we'll talk about in a minute. And then to my far right is Trooper Justin Horan, who is the affiant from the Pennsylvania State Police who's filed the charges that we're here to talk about. We can give you spellings on any of that stuff at the end, but I just want to let you know who's here. The reason we've asked you to gather today is that the Pennsylvania State Police has made an arrest of Chad Allen Carr, who's a 48-year-old man from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Noteworthy, I think, to a lot of folks in our community is that Chad Allen Carr recently resigned as the mayor of Gettysburg. He also recently resigned as the director and I believe a chairperson of the Gettysburg Community Theater. He also had a prior history, which you can see in the affidavit of probable cause, as serving as a volunteer for the Gettysburg High School in the theater department. We've charged Mr. Carr with 3 counts: possession of child pornography, criminal solicitation to commit possession of child pornography, and corruption of minors. And what we've alleged is that through a certain period of time between 2011 and 2013, Chad Allen Carr solicited inappropriate material from at least one individual who was a 16-year-old boy at the time of the solicitation and when the information was shared. There's further and more specific details in the affidavit of probable cause that's been shared with you folks, but essentially we are alleging and believe it's true that Chad Allen Carr had groomed this particular individual from a time even before they were 16 years old, going back to they were a preteen young boy. He developed a relationship with that person, groomed that person, and ultimately was able to successfully entice that person into sharing nude photographic images, nude video images, and inappropriate criminal behavior that constitutes crimes under our criminal statutes in Pennsylvania. Right now, we have alleged one particular victim by initials only in the affidavit of probable cause and police criminal complaint. The charges are a felony of the 2nd degree. Each of those 2 carry a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Corruption of minors is a felony of the 3rd degree and carries with it a maximum penalty of 7 years in prison. There were potentially other criminal charges that would have applied. However, the statute of limitations has barred some of those charges. Nothing necessarily more significant, but there would have been additional charges. The statute of limitations, though, is still open because of recent amendments to those for criminal prosecution of child abuse victims. I think it's important to note this was a thorough investigation and a prompt investigation done by the Pennsylvania State Police. You'll note in the affidavit of probable cause, this information was just provided to us through a child line referral February 24th of this year. And to get to the point we are now, where we are confident that we have sufficient evidence to sustain our burden beyond a reasonable doubt. Today is only March the 13th, obviously. I appreciate the State Police and their swift and thorough investigation. Also, I think it's important to note that this takes a lot of courage from this young person to come forward to reveal these types of behavior in their life, who they behaved with. It's embarrassing, it's personal, and that person has been willing to share that information with a court, with the Pennsylvania State Police, and ultimately in court proceedings down the line. It's not easy for someone to do, and I appreciate and commend that young person's courage in being able to do something like that. As we stand here to now, it's still my understanding that Mr. Carr is in the Adams County Adult Correctional Complex. Bail was set at $100,000. Obviously, he's entitled to post that bail if, in fact, he's able to come up with the money or somebody is on his behalf. He's currently scheduled for a preliminary hearing before Magisterial District Judge Matthew Harvey on March the 20th at 10 o'clock in the morning. And essentially, that's where we are. I know that Captain Haynes may have some comments from the State Police side, but I will take some questions from you afterwards if you do have them, okay?
Good afternoon. Pennsylvania State Police is committed to ensuring that a full and thorough investigation is done into this allegation. Additionally, we'll continue to investigate as time goes on. We would like to encourage anyone, if they have additional information relative to this investigation, be it a witness or any potential individuals who have had contact with Mr. Carr over the course of the past several years, to please contact us. Your direct point of contact for that would be the State Police here at Gettysburg Station, and that phone number here is 717-334-8111, or you can contact the PSP Tips line at 800-472-8477. That's 800-472-8477. There's also an online portal that you'd be able to access there as well. As this is an ongoing and active investigation, I cannot go into the details beyond what District Attorney Sinnott said. However, we're going to turn it over to you all now in the event there are any questions.
Gentlemen, any sense of what, if anything, prompted the individual to come forward now?
I think that was revealed in our investigation, and I think there was some information that was shared within the theater community that caused this person to decide that they wanted to speak with the Pennsylvania State Police. What that information was, I think it is outside the bounds of which I can talk about right now. But it was within the theater community that some conversation or some information was shared.
Could there be any other victims?
Sure, absolutely. We have already found and interviewed multiple people that certainly had inappropriate conduct in contact with this particular person. I'm not alleging that was criminal behavior. If so, we would have included those in the charge that we filed. But certainly inappropriate conduct between Mr. Carr and several juvenile young boys.
Are you able to talk more about the grooming aspect, about like what that entails?
I'm able to only within the bounds of the affidavit of probable cause. If you look in there, this particular young man indicates that he was involved in the theater community at a young age. Then when he got to the high school, Chad Allen Carr was the volunteer in charge of theater. He was hard on him at first, was kind of standoffish or I want to say a little confrontational, as he was with other young people who were involved in the theater community. And then that all changed. And I think the change in that was to show this young person that there was an interest. This young person, being young and maybe being particularly vulnerable, gave into that interest. And then next thing you know, they're being perpetrated for criminal behavior.
Any indication whether criminal or not, anything inappropriate might have gone on at the high school?
Not that I know of right now. All the stuff that we're aware of was done via social media and the Skype application at that time, and chats and things like that. So there's no allegation that I'm aware of right now, and I can yield it to the state police if they think of anything else, but nothing that I'm aware of that happened at the high school itself.
Go ahead.
Can we just make a brief clarification?
Mm-hmm.
You said 2011, 2013,
Mhm.
the affidavit said 2012, 2013?
Okay. I thought it said, actually, I have it right here. I thought it was 2011, but whatever's on the front page of the affidavit of probable cause for control. Please hold. Yes, 12/4 of 2011 to 12/3 of 2013. Those are the dates we have.
Are there any organizations that could be investigated?
I guess any organization be investigated. I don't have any reason to believe that there's any criminal conduct at any organization in our community or that I've heard of at all. Obviously, he was affiliated with the theater, and some of this conduct occurred as a result of the relationships he developed with the theater, but I don't have any reason to suspect the theater engaged in any criminal behavior. And, you know, our investigation with the state police and the district attorney's office is relating to criminal behavior. Anything else, when I say inappropriate contact with other people, I'm not, again, alleging that's criminal behavior, but, you know, it may be concerning behavior.
Any sense of when he stopped volunteering with the Gettysburg High School?
I don't have that information. I don't know if the trooper has that or if ADA Reuter knows. I know that he resigned recently from the theater and resigned as mayor of Gettysburg, but when he stopped with the volunteer, he's saying no. So I don't know that information for you, no.
Are you aware of any charges in other states?
I'm not aware of any other charges. I don't believe he has any criminal history whatsoever.
Any indication of how maybe, I don't know whether this is within your scope, but how close or not this might have been to coming to light earlier on? You mentioned how the statute of limitations has increased
Right.
precisely because of how tricky
I'm not aware of anything before the child line that's documented in our affidavit. That's the first time I knew of any of these allegations personally, and I believe the state police is probably in the same mindset. They're nodding yes, so that's the first I ever heard anything.
And was it sounds like it, but just to confirm, was it this individual who called Childline?
It was not. No, and I think that's described in the affidavit of probable cause. Another person reported this on behalf of that individual. Now, keep in mind, there's different people that are either mandated reporters or people who are required to make Childline reports. So it could be a person they disclosed to, it could be a person who was a witness, but it was not this individual victim that made the first Childline referral.
Do you think there was any physical contact, or was it all purely online?
Our allegations are just the online contact now. I got to limit it to that. If we had allegations of physical contact that was illegal at the time, we would have included that in there. Okay, folks, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.